Hello everyone. In this tutorial I will be talking about how to model the face in the head. We will start where we left off with our base mesh character. Let's see, I will turn off, actually we'll just use it in solo so we can just see the character. We will be using references, and for that we're going to go to texture. You're going to hit an import. I already have mine loaded, so I don't have to import them again, but just so you guys know how to do it, you hit import and you're going to find them over there and select them, and that's it. We are going to be using for the skull, let me lower this down a little bit and hit dynamic and get rid of my RGBs already as we speak. Okay. We will be going into the draw menu. We're going to bring it over here. We will be going to front and back. We're going to get our floor on, which is the same button right over here, or Shift P, as you guys can tell. We will get for front and back, map 1 is going to be our front face. I'm not going to use, well, I guess I can use the back. I have to load it then. Texture, import. We're gonna go right over here. It's called references 2, and let's back and open that. Now on map 2, I'm gonna be able to find the back of the skull. On the left and right, I will select map 1 and select the side skull. Go back to front and back. We will have to do the scale. I believe in the case of my character is 0.042, if I'm not mistaken. 0.042. And the vertical scale is, I believe for my vertical offset it's minus, let's say minus 289. Let's see if that's true. Yep, that is correct. Is why it's dead on. I had done the calculations before, so this is something that you guys are going to have to kind of, you know, fuss with. It's usually easy to get it close, but you'll never get it close by moving this slider. So you're gonna have to enter those numbers, you know, by hand, and eventually, you know, get it dead on. On the side one, oops. It's pretty much going to be the same, left, right, and the scale is going to be 0.042, and the vertical offset will be minus 0.289. There you go. Okay. Now, to see through, you have two options. You can either go ahead and just put it in front like that, or you can you have to have it, you know, for the front to work you have to have it in film mode 1 and film mode 2, if I'm not mistaken. Or if you want a different variation to it, you can hit film mode 3, and that allows you to work with this enhance factor for the edge and for the outside. So you can play with that. You see, it gives you more edge or more of the inside. So it's pretty good right there. Now, to be able to see the mesh a little better, sometimes hitting Shift F will help you because it gives you a color, or you can actually get rid of the fill and just leave the wireframes, and that also helps. So let's begin. I usually like to work like this first, but eventually I am going to turn this into a Dynamesh. So for now, let's work like this, try to get the basic shapes and forms in. So I'm going to be using the Move Topological tool to get it to a bigger size and just start moving it along. Actually, let me make a copy of this guy. So Control Shift D will do a copy of it. Actually, that doesn't work. Now when the Camtasia is working, because Camtasia's Control Shift D is like the pen tool for them. So we're gonna have to do it manually, which is duplicate over here. We can turn this off. Get down to this guy. There you go. All right, let's move on. And I believe X is on. Our symmetry is on. Now, I always have to keep remembering that when we do things from the front and the side, we're gonna turn with kind of a squarish model, and we obviously don't want that. I want to hide this guy right now. I want to hide the body, so I am just going to Control Shift, and I'm going to drag there, so I just leave basically the neck. There you go. And let's continue to work from the side. It's good to move around, not just work from one side at a time. And we'll do this here from now. Get these shapes on. I hope you guys don't mind the music, but again, I have to work with something, otherwise I'll drive myself crazy here. And see how it's kind of flattened it up? Well, we have to, now that we're gonna work on the side. No. Let's see how this works. I really not being able to see much of the edge. There you go. Now I can see the edge a little better. I'm gonna get rid of the ears for the time being, because they're just in the way. So I just soften them up. My soft brush was pretty strong in that at that setting. Let's see. This guy's going over here. I'm bringing all this towards the inside. YouTube has been messing around with me now that I've been posting this videos, and I have my music in the background, and they're saying that I'm using third-party content and so on. So I don't know if they're going to. They said that in some countries this may be a no-no. So, but they're not doing anything about it just yet. But I don't think so, since I'm not making any money out of this. So I hope this is all right to use them. I'm gonna go around the middle and pull this. There you go. This goes like this, this goes like that. Sometimes you gotta move it to the side to get the right angle. There you go. Got that going. Got this going. This going. Alright. So we have the front. And let's see. Let's use the standard for now. Let's go down and with Alt to carve inside. There you go. Let's see. Yeah. And let's make this softer. Bring this in. Bring this in. Hang that in. Bring this in. I'm going to lower the intensity on my smooth brush. Dig this in. I am kind of going off, I kind of know how this code looks like, so I can work off the references very well. But if you guys don't feel comfortable working off the references, then just, and I mean by off of the references, not off the references. So, but if you don't feel comfortable, just use them. That's what they're for. And we're gonna have to create here the actual temporal fossa. I need to, with the move topological, move this towards the sides because they're it's too squarish. I'm gonna go down. This is why I'm still keeping it undynameshed. It's the only way for me to actually quickly change this shapes. Then we go back up. That's good. I'm gonna bring this down to match. There you go. Shift D to move these things a lot better, easier. Now this one skull is gonna look weird because he's got a thick neck already, so he's gonna be pretty much the face. The facial skull part. Let's see, it's a little bit bigger right over here. I want to move this so I can see a little better. There you go. You guys can see that I keep pushing the wrong keys here because now I'm confused from the keyboards in school and the ones right here, and then when I go to school I'm confused again, so just bear with me on that one. Hopefully I'll get it straight. Okay, D to bring this down. I want to see a little bit more of it, so bring this. So let's use the clay tubes and bring this in the tube, bring the intensity down, and let's start doing this. I'm gonna work on this fossa even more. There you go. Hit Shift F again. Maybe using a selection will work pretty well. So let's paint a selection right over here. Masking selection. If you want to get rid of the reference, all you have to do is hit the floor right over here. Okay. And then take away from this and start adding. With Shift P, I'll be able to see my reference again. Lower that. Guys, forgive me if you guys hear me drinking my coffee. But it's late in the evening, and I need something. Oh, wrong. Let's use the Alt key for this to carve. You guys see, I'm just carving towards the zygomatic bone. This is actually evolved. This is where the brain comes, is the encasing of the brain. So it really doesn't. There's not much to carve in there. Let's soften this. Let's smooth it out. Let's see. Maybe a little more with the option. Keep carving that baby up. Shame. We don't. I mean, in reality, it's a pretty deep fossa, but we're not gonna have to do that, all that, because anyway, we're just about to fill it up, fill it in with muscle later on. So it's just to indicate it. That's good. And now we have, let's see, are those cheeks matching? The cheeks are is the zygomatic bone. Just for you guys, so you guys know. Get rid of that. I'm going to carve a little more. I'm going to use the standard for this to carve it a little tad more, lower this intensity. And let's carve right over here. There you go. And you guys have to remember that the teeth, the mouth, is actually a barrel. So you guys have to keep that in mind, keep that shape correct. This comes right over here, comes inside like that. I almost feel like I'm already running out of geometry. See if that's enough. Oh, it needs way more. There you go. Let's see. And with the move topological, we can actually move this ones up a little bit like this, so it looks correct. Bring the teeth out. This should go in. You can tell through here. Let's hit Shift P because I want that out of the way. Let's make this into a barrel shape. Not so much. We don't want canines like if we were vampires here. Although that would be perfect for a vampire character to keep the canine area a little bit pointier. That nose is a little too square. Let's move it in. It should be pointier. There you go. There you go. And this goes in a bit more. Goes in. I'm giving a little bit of smooth there. And the eyes go a little bit in more. We are going to, with the clay tubes, we're going to add the glabella and the superciliary crest, which is like this. So let's make sure that we have this correctly. And usually the skull looks sad with a smile. That's the way I see it. It's like a sad character with but at the same time smiling. It's kind of freaky. It's weird. Let's carve in. Let's carve in. We have to make sure that we get the temporal line or the temporal ridge right over here. It has to go, and it's something that all humans have, and actually most animals have. And it's very important to mark it. I'll take this off. There you go. And it starts to fade in. Let's make sure to smooth out the skull and all the marks we did before. Now, in theory, that's all we need. That's pretty much the shape of it. I'm going to go a little further with it, but that's pretty much all we need to start, making muscles and all that, and to put muscles on. We will have to obviously get more geometry for that, which is not going to be able to work with the little geometry we have at this stage. You have to make the ridge right over here. And this goes like this. And we have this. This digs in. Alright. Yeah, it's looking good. We need to take a little bit out of the fossa. It's a bit too bulbous at this moment. At least at the front. This is a little flatter, this area. Let's see, is that looking a little better? Great thing to have if you guys have a chance to get a real skull or a replica skull in your hands. Invaluable information you'll be able to gather from that. So if for some reason you can get one in, do it. It will really help you out, get the best and understand how the skull, it's a beautiful shape actually. I think that looks good so far. Let's see. Have to look at from all the angles. Sure to soften all of these areas because this is not supposed to have any kind of lines or squarish things going on in there. No square shapes. We have to have the frontal eminence right over here. It's kind of a diamond sort of a shape. It's prominent in some individuals, not so much in other ones, but we all have it and it's got to be there. It actually gives a lot of believability. I can't even say that. Believability to a character. So make sure to always include it on your characters, even if they're not human. This ridge is right over here in the actual frontal eminence will give a lot of character to any character. No pun intended. It will make it look quite real. Mainly because skulls are not round. You really need to have some sort of shape in angles and flat parts to the skull to actually make it look real. There's another one right here also. So if you go in the back of your head, you can feel it. It's an occipital eminence. Let's get this deeply more. You guys can tell I don't like to go up in resolution that much. I like to keep it low for the time being, and helps me focus on the forms. I already know. Let me get a little bit of this. Let's go visibility right here and shrink. There you go. I don't want to affect the neck when I'm doing this or for it to actually be in my way. Shift D to bring it down. And bring these shapes a little bit in. Now, if you want to be able to see, you can see how dark this is. If you want to make sure, you know, if you want to bring that, and right here with the light, you can move this light, and it will be affected. Or, incidentally, you can put it over here. And you can use under C plugin, under miscellaneous utilities, you can use interactive light. And all you have to do is, I believe it's with P that you have to move it. No, forgot what it was. I don't use it that often. But yeah, it's Control P is what it is. So with Control P, you can move the light around in C. Uh-oh, it crashed. It just figures. Well, it obviously crashed, you guys. So here is one that I had work on. Probably at a stage closer to what we were before. This one's got ears, so I'm just gonna soften them up. I gotta bring everything back to where it was. This intensity a little bit down. And let's make a duplicate out of this guy. Let's work on this one. Turn this one off. Let's go to quick save, because obviously, probably because I have several programs running at the same time is the reason why it caused it to crash. So let's put this guy, let's say around every 10 minutes or so. That way it will continue to save. So here we go. It's a little bit further than where I had the other one, not by much. I don't think this one has that the eminence done just yet, so let's get to that. And the intensity down. Soften this up. Smooth it out. And let's create that eminence right over here. It's almost like a diamond shape. A little bit lower. Create this. A little bit in. The glabella. There you go, that looks good. Probably gonna make a little bit more of an indent protuberance right over here for the frontal eminence. There you go, that looks good. I want to make this a little bit softer. This one's a little too strong. This temporal line. I call it temporal ridge. There you go, that looks good. Need to carve this in a bit better. So I had put sort of indication for teeth on this, but yeah, it's not really necessary. It's actually more important to get it right, that barrel shaped in the mandible and on the maxilla. And with Shift P we bring back our, seems like it's a little bit too forward, so let's bring this back. There you go. That's much better. And let's bring back the actual draw menu. I don't like it over there. I'm just going to bring it to the left. Front back. And let's see, we have our factor. Let's bring this so we can see much better. I'm going to bring this in with the move topological. Yeah, this needs to go in. And later on we will work on that, because I mean obviously the sternocleidomastoid, it comes in there in that position. Keep in mind that these references are not perfect. In some of them they'll show some discrepancies, and you gotta always keep that in mind. I always keep a set of actual references on my other screen, so I can look and make sure that what I'm seeing is correct. See, this one's obviously we're way too far out. Need to be in a little bit more. And let's hit Shift F just to see a little bit better. Bring the chin up a little bit. Bring the teeth out a little bit more. Make sure that nose is correct. There you go. I like to use the dynamic one on this one's dynamic brush. You have two different ways of having the brush. I don't know if you guys noticed that there's dynamic and there's not dynamic. One of them will grow at the same rate, or it will zoom at the same rate as the actual mesh, and the other one won't. I'm going to carve a little better and take this RGB out. See intensity. Oh, that's not the one I want. Clay. With Alt key, I'm going to make sure that we're carving it pretty good. There you go. Looks good. Let's get that zygomatic arch going on. I am going to erase this body. I'm going to just cut it off. Control Alt Delete once again, but we've already done this procedure, so you guys already know how that goes. Let's see. That's looking good. Just need to make sure that this is working well. Alt key while And the clay. This goes like this. There's a step or transition. Now, usually the chin is a lot thinner than that, it's pointier. So we need to bring this in. There you go. That looks much better. And Shift P. Yeah, this needs to come down with clay tubes. And Shift P again. And let's make sure that we got this shape out here. Okay, Shift P again. Now I have a demarcation line. Alt. Bring this up a little bit. There's always a hole right up here, but we're not going to have to make it because, again, we're going to fill this up again with geometry once we start putting the muscles in. But, you know, we need to get the shape of the skull correct. Shift D to bring this up. That's a little too much. There you go. And with the Move tool, move Topological, and bring this in a little bit better. And let's see. Actually, this is really good so far. Gotta get the shape of the head good. And bring this back a little bit straighter. Bring this guy a little bit on the temporal side, a little bit in. That's good. D. Shift F to bring back the shaded version of it with clay tubes. Bring this down. Bring this a little bit down. We always have this. We need to carve in a little bit better with the standard. Let's bring the whole of the nose and the whole of the eyes better. There you go. And with Move tool, bring this and make that the sad look that we're always looking for. And the nose needs to be thinner once again. Let's see. How's this looking? You got the barrel shape of the mouth really well done. Maybe a little bit less. The clay tubes. Bring this down. There's definitely, this needs to be softened out. Okay. So let's bring back our references and see how this is going. Okay, they match pretty good. The frontal element is a little too far out. Let's bring that back. There you go. About it from the front. Oh yeah, we need to work on that a little bit more. Shift D. Shift D. Bring this in. ND, make it going up a little bit so we have a little bit more resolution. ND again. There you go. Make sure that everything's correct. Let's bring the jaw a little bit more in, up. I think that works. We need definitely more geometry for this area because it's not cooperating. With the clay tubes, I'm going to create a little bit more of an indentation under here. Excellent. Okay. That's roughly what we needed. I'm going to save it. And we're going to add a little, either one more subdivision, or we're going to go ahead and straight up going into Dynamesh. Actually, a few more changes would be better for this. Before, and I just noticed something that needed some work. Let's move to Topological. Bring these guys down. Shift D. Actually, D, that's too much. D. Lasso tool. Okay. Bring that down. I bring it in. Okay, you guys are looking good. I'm going to show up with Control, Shift, and tap on the background. And we're going to bring another level. So as you can see, geometry, so Control D to make it into that. Now we have 2.5 million. Let's see, I hope this is enough geometry for it. Clay tubes. And as you guys notice, I'm always smoothing after a certain amount of strokes. It's always a good idea to smooth things out, so that way your sculpt does not become lumpy. There's nothing more frustrating than trying to get rid of all those lumps later on. It really is. Plus, it won't help. Those lumps will just not help your sculpture look good at all. Actually, I think I'm gonna go with some Dynamesh right now, because I'm not like I don't want to keep upping the amount of geometry with this, although it is very useful because I'll still be able to keep all of my levels. But I think I'm done with pretty much the large forms, so we'll be doing that pretty soon. We have to create, this is a little bit of a concave form. It's not convex. You got to bring this forward. This goes like this. This goes like that. Again, in smooth. Shift P to bring that back up. You need a little bit. Actually, these guys are like this. Everybody's got that dent right there. Damn standard. We're gonna bring it down a little bit. And let's do this. There you go. It's not that sharp. It's very, very close. Okay. Shift P. Shift P. Let's see. Yeah, it needs to come down a little bit more. Let me see. I want to see this. See, there's a little discrepancy in between the two references. In this area, it tells me that it needs to be going down a little more. But on the front one, it doesn't show that to be the case. I need to bring this to 100%. There you go. And clay tubes, and we're gonna bring this in to make this ridge. There you go. That looks good. Move it down. This down like this. Bigger than that. Just move it out. And again, don't despair if you can't get these shapes straight, right away. This takes quite a bit of time to learn how they're supposed to look. So don't feel frustrated if you don't get them right out of the bat. Actually, let me use some H polish right over here. Not too strong. Lower that intensity. And there you go. That's nice. Yep, I like that. And I want to work on the specifically crest. Make it look this way. Obviously this is a little too strong, but that's the angle where they need to be looking at. And let's go back to clay tubes. There you go. And with damn standard, I'm gonna create a little bit of a ridge right over here to mark that delineation, separation of the forms. I am going to bring it up a little bit, lower the intensity to create planes, and with Alt, I'm going to mark these edges a little bit better. There you go. Same thing right here. Just want to make a little bit of a line, soften them up a little bit. And make this right over here. All of these I'm doing with Alt to actually create ridges. And right over here I'm actually digging in. Let's do some down standard. Let's bring this in a little bit. That's a little too much. Need to bring this forward. There you go. And again, this is all about observation. I am looking at the references on my other monitor, making sure that I am placing all the forms where they need to be. Then I'm actually carving where it needs to be carved. I'm checking for proportion, shape. These ones need to be a little bit lower. There's a little bit of delay right now on the move brush. And I know that this is supposed to be a tad. Let's go down, and it's supposed to be like that. D. There you go, it's saved. Awesome. Let's see. This can be a little bit more forward. There you go. And there needs to be a little bit more information right here. Topological. There you go. A little bit up. There you go. That's looking good. Nice shape to the head. Shift P, see if we're correct on that. And we might need a little bit. Oops, we're already there. So Shift P, bring it down. Oops, Shift P and Control. No, actually Shift P and Shift D to bring the resolution down a little bit and make up for that ridge right up there. This is the occipital ridge. D, D, D. Nice. We still need to come a little bit. Shift D. That ridge has got to be there. Part of this. You see it especially and obviously on both guys. A little bit of softening right there, smoothing out. Shift P, Shift F, D and D and D. Let's use a little bit of the clay tubes to form that. There you go. And that's good. You can keep on going forever doing this, literally. At some point you just gotta quit and start on the other stuff, otherwise you'll be here forever. There's so many forms and little shapes to the skull, small shapes that need to be addressed. but since we're not doing skulls and we're not going to be grading how well we detail the skull, we just need it so we learn where the muscles are going to attach, and then once we have the muscles we can base all of our skin or put on a skin on. Okay, as you guys can tell, I keep rotating things around. I'm always making sure keep rotating you know, things are correct. It needs a little bit of carving in here. There you go. That's nicer. There you go. So what is this? Alright. And let's hit save. A quick save right there. Is our ridge doing good? Let's see, bring this down a little bit. There you go. Down. Okay, so if we see this whole thing, there he goes. We have our little Skeletor guy. Quick save it again. And I think we're ready to go for the muscles. Alright, so let's see. We can go two ways with this. We can keep adding subdivision levels to this. With ZBrush 4R7 X64 you can actually go quite high because the software can actually use more than the, I believe it was 12 million, 14, at least in my PC. 14 million was per subtool was the maximum, and then you were just asking for problems and trouble. With the new X64, I don't know what the top of it is, but yeah, I know it's already higher than 18 million. I've tried some subtools and it works just fine. Well, you know, it chunks a little bit, but not too bad. But Dynamesh, it's a good choice to do this because you can always keep updating the geometry with new polygons. The only problem with Dynamesh is that obviously you are subject to just one subdivision level at a time. And so if you need to go down to make major changes or something like that, you're just out of luck. So that's something to consider when working with Dynamesh. What are going to be your requirements ultimately? Another thing that I'm going to show you guys, it's another way of putting references. Now that we're going to start with the actual muscles, it's a good idea to have another set of references. So let me get that. We have texture right over here, and we have down here image plane. It's usually closed, but you can always open it. We're gonna have the front. Let's see, let's put this load image, and I have these guys. Oh, actually, did I have them already up? No. Okay, so this is where we're gonna have to go into, where do I have them? I think it's under ZBrush files, export import, expression college, and muscle references, and at 72 dpi. Oh, but of course it needs a different type of file. Okay, so I guess I'm just gonna have to convert them. I'll be back. Okay, here they are. And we are going to select the front because that's for the front. Let's see what happens. Okay, there it is. We have the image size right over here, and it won't update until we bring it in again, but I think at 100% is just fine. Okay, so right here, what you're gonna do is we're gonna bring, this is the model opacity, so you can see what we're doing, and just move the character into position to wherever we want it. Where are the eyes on this guy? Right over here. That's about right. Let me bring this opacity even more down. So he's about right there. There you go. And you store the view. Now we're going to go to back. I mean actually to the side, to the right side. There you go. And we're going to load the image. And it's going to be a JPEG, and the side open. Okay, and we are going to upsize this guy. Obviously this is not going to match perfectly because the head on this guy is tilted forward. I think that's about right. I'm not really going to use these ones. I'm just going to show you how to use them. I have them right here on the side of my computer, and I already know how the muscles look like, so I'm not going to use them. But I need to show you how to use this. So store this view, and it's just as easy as going back and forth. If you need the front one or you need the right one, all you have to click is on them and just hit the opacity and start working. So you have front, and it saves the position of your model. So let's say you're like that and you're working on it, and then all you have to do is hit front again, and it just goes back to the front. So that is that. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to use this feature, but I just thought that you guys needed to know how to use it. Okay, so here we are. We're going to add, we have to add the eyes so we can make the eyelids and all that, but let's see. Okay, how we're going to do that is by adding a sphere. So we hit right here on the tool, and we're going to find sphere 3D. Obviously this sphere is way too big, but hit right here in skin sphere again to select our tool, and we're gonna append it, and it's gonna be right over here, sphere 3D. And again, this is obviously too big. You can go to transparency to see what's going on. We can do this two ways. We can use the transpose line to make it small, or we can use deformation and the size. Yep, wrong. Gotta go to the other tool. So by hitting the arrow key, the down arrow key, you can go to your next tool, which is the actual sphere, or the actual sphere, I'm sorry, and size. And you can repeat to active, or repeat to other, repeat to active, repeat to active, repeat to active, and probably another again. I think that's pretty close to where we need it. Maybe a tad more. Size. There you go. All right. Then hit Shift F so be able to see it. And let's turn this up and bring it up. If we hit F, it should take us to where we need it. And if we have scale, We could bring it down. Whoa, too much. And W, and let's move it over here. And rotate. And while you hold in shift, you can rotate it and it will snap to 15 degrees, 30, I'm sorry, 45 degrees, 90 degrees, and so on and so on. Now, we have the, you can tell, we have the poles. Looking, this is what's going to be our iris or pupil. And let's hit W. And this should bring it forward. And there should be a line in between this part, the ridge of the eye, and the zygomatic bone, and that's where eye should be located at, the pupil of the eye. Not any forward, not any more backward, just right there. That's a perfect position for it. And it might go a little bit out. Like right there would be good. And it's still too out, too far out. That's a good one right there. You can use your pen and just put it in front of your eye, your face, and see if that works. Or you can actually go onto your figure and use the transpose line and see if that's where it should be. That's pretty close. So let's go down. It needs to go back a little bit more. There you go. That's good. I think it's positioned pretty good. I'll leave it there for now. If we need to readjust it, we will. Okay, so for making a duplicate, what we're gonna go is into C plugins, and we are going to let's dock it to the side here, and subtool master, and we will go for mirror. It's going to ask us whether we want to merge into one subtool or append as a new subtool. It's totally up to you. These are the axes. Obviously we want it to be mirrored on the x-axis, so we're going to leave it like that, and I'm actually wanting to be in one, merge into one subtool. You can have it separate subtools again, or merge into one. We're going to do it into merge into one, and there you go. Now we have both our eyeballs right over there, and let's save this puppy. Okay, so we can go with the arrow, up arrow key, can go up, and be ready. Let's take the transparency out, and now we can start adding muscles. So like we said before, we can either use decimation or continue to use the subdivision levels. I am going to go ahead and duplicate this, and I'm going to use, I should have named this guy. Let me do this, because I should have done this a while ago. Head or skull. No, head's good. Let's call it skull. It's a good idea. And this one shall be renamed, where's it at? Rename head. Muscles. Okay. Let's rename these guys. Rename him to eyes. Okay. Quick save again. Alright. I am going to do the dynameshing. I want to see what my levels are. Oh, go up. We have 2.5 million polygons right now. It seems like it's pretty dense down over here, but it's not dense enough right over here. So we're gonna go ahead. We're going to delete. Actually, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, we can delete lower. Maybe like that. you have to delete the levels. Otherwise, even if you don't delete it, when you go into Dynamesh, it's going to ask you to do it anyway. And here's Dynamesh. I usually like to not blur it at all. 128 is going to be too low, but I'm going to show you guys anyway. See, it's very, very, very low, and I don't need that. That's too much. That's too low. Let's go for 256, which is the next level. And you can hit enter, but it's going to be red, and as soon as you hit Dynamesh, it's going to go back into 128. So to avoid that, you have to actually tap the background. Now Dynamesh, that's still on the low side. I'm going to go back down. This is Control C, or yeah, it's probably better to do Control C in this instance. I need to get rid of this guy because I'm seeing it right through. As you can tell now, see how low it is. So that's still too low. Let's go down again. Let's do this at, I think 512 is still going to be too low, so let's do 1024. Oh, come on. 1024, enter, and then select, hit the background, Dynamesh. Now you can see there's projection in progress. It takes a little long. Let's hope it doesn't crash. Always a good possibility. Alright, so that kept the geometry a little bit better. More to where what I was looking for. Still a little low, but I think we can work with that for now. Okay. So Shift F. Let's see, can we keep these? Do I need to keep this? It's always nice to keep polygroups to separate things, but you know what? I think these guys are just a little bit too many polygroups at the time, at this moment. Although the ones for the hands are just really good. I guess I'll keep them for now. If I don't need them later, I'll just get rid of them. So Shift F. Anyway, I can go Shift F and just kill the fill. Okay, so now we're ready to go. Okay. I need to see whether this is still recording. Yes, it's doing just fine. Let's bring this down. Okay. All right. One method that Mr. Ryan Kingsland came up with to be able to tell between bone and actual muscle was to change materials in between the projects, in the middle of the process. So how you do that, it's let me get rid of this. We have right now this material. I usually like to work with matcap material, but basic material is going to work with light, so we can leave that on. Let's go into actually MRGB or material, and you can either choose material, RGB, or a combination of both. Right now I'm just going to use material, and I'm going to hit fill object. Now you're going to find that under color, fill object, just in case I have it mapped to the side here, but if you don't have it, that's where you're going to find it, under color. So right now what happens is that even if I change materials, see, it just changes the eyes, but because our skull is the selected tool, and we filled the object with the previous material, now it won't change. Doesn't matter what we do. Everything else will, but not this, but not the actual tool that we're working on. So what I'm going to choose now, it's the matcap red wax, and with material still on, we're going to start adding the muscles. So I'm going to start with the master. And actually, you know what? Let's see if we can do something before that. Let's use layers. Let's add a layer. Start recording. Oh, nope. It's not going to work that way. Yeah, layers don't really work that way. So let's get rid of it. And let's delete it. Layers are for something completely different, but I thought that maybe I would try. Okay, so your master goes all the way. Comes from here. All the way from and again, and I'm not the kind of guy or kind of person who actually puts too much strength into my brushes. I like to have a low setting and just work it. Now the masseter attaches to the zygomatic bone in the bottom of this, the angle of the jaw, which is this one right over here. Actually, we can give it a little bit more intensity because this is a little too low and we're going to be here forever. There you go. I'm going to fill this hole a little bit more. Fill this more. Let's see if we can use clay buildup. That works a little faster. I'm going to get all of this filled in. See how this is looking from the front. Got to smooth this out. See how it gets lumpy when you go way too fast on this? Now you just have to use a lot of smoothing, which also destroys the forms. That's too much. Let's leave it at 30 something. I am going to make a mask. Probably a little less right there. There you go. And right over here. Okay. Right here. Right here. Okay. This is too much intensity again. Let's see. You gotta leave a little bit for the cheek. Why is it doing that? Shouldn't be doing that. It is recalculating because I actually scratch in the background, so it dynameshes. That's by control, and just scrubbing in the background. And unfortunately, that got the entire color red. That's something that Dynamesh does. Go back. It's not Dynameshes yet. Although I'm not understanding. Oh, okay. I see what's going on. We need material on this one. It's because you would change brushes. I'm taking away a little bit because this is a little too much jaw going on. Okay. Now let's go back to a regular clay tubes because we don't need to fill it in so much. And let's do a little bit more and here under the cheek. Okay, and that also accounts for the buccinator and a lot of the muscles that go underneath the masseter. There's the buccinator goes right over here. You can actually add it up. You still need a little more. And right here from the mouth. This is triangularis. And we're gonna have to work on the Sigmomaticus. So usually it needs to be thick right over here. It's better to put it on the side so you can see what you're doing. Let's just fill this up because this is gonna be filled with other muscles, but in particular Sigmomaticus. And the zygomatic head, which is a thinner one. That one goes towards the nose. And we're gonna have the infraorbital head. The caninus, I don't know how you call them. We're going to have the orbicularis oris, which comes right over here, and dips in a little bit low. Clay 2 because clay that one is a little too strong for my taste. And here we have the quadratus labii inferioris and the mentalis, which is this one right over here, and the quadratus labii inferioris. There's actually no bone right here. I mean, there's no muscle right here in this area. And that's you can actually feel it. And the bone is just right there. We're gonna do it anyway. Actually, no, let's leave it like that. That's how it should be. Let's see a little bit more of the buccinator. Have to fill that up. That's what feels your cheeks, side of your mouth. Okay. Let's see what else. We're gonna have the nasalis, which is it's not a very thick muscle. A lot of these muscles are not very thick at all. I am going to go solo, so I'm just going to fill this in because we need to. Clay buildup. So we can create the orbicularis oris. Obviously, there's no muscle right away here. This is empty, but that's how ZBrush works. So, and now we can bring back the eyes and the orbicularis oris, which goes around. Whoops, a little too far. Gotta make room for the eyelids. This guy needs to come from over here. The Zygomaticus. Maybe a little bit thicker from there. Can't forget to keep adding this. Now we have to put the temporalis muscle, which is the one that fills this in. Fills it on in a fan manner. Goes up like that. So let's fill this in. Well, that's too much. Let's fill this in first. Let's go. It's thicker towards the inside, obviously, and thinner towards the outside. Let's see how that's doing. I'm going against the grain just to fill it up faster. Let's see, it needs a little bit more. If we soften it, smooth it out quite a bit. Alright, our face is starting to take shape. So let me do it from this. It's easier for my hand to do it in this direction. It's always good to, you know, use your wrist and your hand in the best possible position. That other one, was kind of uncomfortable for me. So the best way to do it is just to put it in a position. Like this position is a lot easier. Okay. So what this muscle does is actually moves the jaw, believe it or not, along with the masseter. This muscle in usual animals is huge, especially in canines or in felines. This muscle is ginormous. That's why they have such crushing pressure. And ours is rather small. But the masseter provides a lot of strength, but this is the one that really provides all of the muscle. No pun intended. When it comes to grabbing prey, stuff like that. Alright. We are going to have to add the frontal part of the epicranius, and let's see what else. The levator palpebrae. But let's just do these guys first. And the corrugator right over here. Let's go up. These ones are really rather thin. There's not much to them. And they really don't have much going on. Corrugator. We need a little bit more of here on the orbicularis oculi. Let's smooth that out. And you guys can tell a lot of the structure of the face is coming out now. I think I'm using too much intensity again on the smoothing. Orbicularis oris comes a little further. I mean the orbicularis oculi. The orbicularis oris is the mouth, by the way, and the oculi is the one for the eye. Okay, we got that. I think it's pretty close to being done. And that looks good. Got nice shapes. Flexion-ator. Make sure that we have all this. Now we have a little bit of triangularis right over here. Whoops. and that's why I don't like that automatic saving. It just kind of stops you right in the middle of what you were doing. But I think this is better than losing your work. And this goes underneath. Now there's a ton of muscles right here on the throat, but you know, we're just not going to work on them because they really don't add much shape. So I think we're done for now on this. Probably add a little more in here. These ones. Vaccinator. I'm sorry, the Zygomaticus. Zygomaticus head. There's another one that comes here from the nose. Those ones are very, very shallow muscles. So I think we're good for now. Let's see. Here on the side. I'm actually carving in a little bit in here. We're creating the lips. There's more of the orbicularis right there. And we still have to add a nose. So we can add the nose again, probably with the regular basic material. Bring that out, smooth it out. Maybe with the move. Bring him out. There you go. And towards the sides. Smooth that out. Add the wings of the nose, nostrils. A little bit smaller than that. We have to add this. And I think that's good. I think that's a good strong nose. There you go. Okay. Those are a little difficult sometimes because they're very peculiar. Let me grab and let's move this a little bit to the back. There you go. And let's bring this down a little bit. Still need to make the nostrils, so let's go to standard and just see if there's enough geometry there to do anything. That's close. Alright. So there you have it. Gonna take a little break and we will continue later. And save. Haha.